Welcome. How are you guys?
Good.
Lovely in yourself.
Great, it's great. I'm going to do a little demo of how to, I think is an easy way of throwing in images, attaching images to a model that you're using. And the reason that you want to do this is because databases get really slow when you store binary data in them. So if you keep like 3 or 4 megabyte picture files as binary data in your database, it really slows things down. So you utilize a technique of attaching or like linking photos to your database. Is similar to the way that we were putting in strings from URLs to find them. But in this case, what paperclip does is it lets you use the file upload tag, another HTML element that you might not have seen yet, where it opens the file display box and lets you select a thing, and it sort of takes over the inner workings of your application, and it stores them it takes care of all this management for you. It puts them into your library folder of your application. It's one of those other folders that you haven't seen and worked with too much, but you know how we've been putting like publicly available JavaScript stuff into the vendor, into the public folder. The library folder is handled by this application or this gem called paperclip. So to start, you're going to want to if you look up paperclip gem, we can go to the setup guide for it. And we may even want to make a new Rails app for demonstration purposes. So let's just do that. Let's start with I'm going to make an application that handles a contacts, or does contacts, but then has an attached photo for the contact.
Like a
Pretty-
user photo?
Yeah,
Yeah.
an avatar or something like that. So we'll kind of follow along with the documentation, but to start off, I want to get rid of this old one. So I'll do that, and we'll do Rails new contacts paperclip, and we can set the database to Postgres QL, and we can skip our test unit. That's a shortcut for saying skip tests. That little T, that capital T. So this will create a Postgres application and it won't bother creating test files and folders.
Does the test stuff, does that affect the performance of that?
No, but if you use RSpec, which I think is very popular in Rails, you'll get rid of that test folder anyway, because you want to have RSpec create the testing environment for you, and it'll make RSpec folders. So
Was that dash capital T?
dash capital T. Yeah. Okay. So there's obviously getting set up is kind of complicated, but I'm going to show you the scaffold command first if you haven't seen it before. So let's first go into our application, and we have to rake db create because it's a Postgres database. Okay. Let's try to just get it running. Oops. Not that. Okie doke. So that works. And we want to open it up with our code editor. And back on the, grab the the gem from their documentation and throw it into your apps gem file. Yep. Just search Google for paperclip gem. It's the first one that comes up.
And where did you put it in your gem file?
Where?
Yeah.
It goes in all three environments, so it just goes with the main list of, but in the main, the main section of your gems.
Okay.
It doesn't have to go in either your development or test.
Okay.
It just goes in the main area. Okay. Might be worth mentioning what's going on here. You'll start to see more of these as you look at more code bases. This is saying, don't get my version. I don't want to declare my version in my gem file. I want you to I want you to check what their most up-to-date version is when I run bundle install. So this is I prefer this because you kind of want to develop with the gem you write your application with, the version of it. I mean, that's going to be your surefire way to make it work. If they update something and you reinstall or rebundle your gems, something may break. But so we're going to create a model. Well, actually, first we need to bundle install. Okay. And we're going to have two models. Or no, really just one model, because we're just going to attach the image to it. We'll do a contact model. So this is really fun. I don't know if you've messed around with this, but if you want to have Rails build you out all of the code and all of the routes and all of the RESTful stuff, you can do Rails generate, and this will just save us time. It's called a scaffold, and we'll call it contact, and we'll have a first. Make it real simple. First name, last name, and an avatar. Okay. Actually, don't type in the avatar. Paperclip takes care of that for you. Just first name, last name, and email. Okay. All right, let's look at what that did. Starting with our routes. See, it created a resource. It created this thing called resources for contacts. Resources is a shorthand way of doing the RESTful routes. It matches them. It handles the automated, it does all the get, post, patch, push, whatever for all the proper actions. So just by having resources contacts in my routes file, I can I just want to see if I have to do a migrate. Okay.
Gene, quick question.
Yeah.
I'll just straight up putting this in my capstone right now. Is that a good idea?
Sure. Whatever. It's up
No,
to you.
just kinda-
Are you backed up?
Sorry?
Do you have a GitHub backup?
Yeah.
Did you do a
Yeah,
Did you do a commit?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so I'm all good. Yeah, I thought she was thinking.
Okay. let's see what happens now. That still doesn't work. But now, if we go to contacts, we should get a sort of really ugly looking. You've never seen it write this code out for you before, but I can create a new contact from here. It built this form, and it did it in the most efficient way that Rails can do these sorts of things. So the code is going to look really weird when we go look at it. It's using tons of partials and shortcuts and stuff. So let's just create one.
Did that work for everybody?
What? Well, I'm using another app that I work
Okay.
with.
Yeah, it's not working for me.
Okay.
Migration. Oh, migrations are pending.
Yeah. So do RickDB migrate. So, see, this kind of gives you just a basic table, and it gives you all your CRUD resources for doing this stuff. But we want to add in an image, and so, like, it'd be nice if we could show a picture right here next to the contact. So they actually do that. I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit, but this is kind of how I like to program. It's like I want this thing to show up. I want an image tag with my contact.avatar URL to show up. So I'm just going to put this in the view. And we'll say that's in our contacts index view. Okay. So okay, so that's what we want to end up having. That's what for our purposes we want this to work. So if we try reloading that, we're obviously going to get an error because avatar isn't a thing that isn't one of the fields available to you on a contact. That's very obvious so far. But we don't want to add a field. We want to add an attachment to the model. So the first thing we need to do is in our contact model, we're going to copy this code, and I'll explain what it's saying in a second. Just go to your model or whatever model you're working with. Okay. So it's saying that this method we get from paperclip, saying has attached file avatar, and it's giving you some predefined styles. So it's saying like these are the styles available. If you said medium, it's going to be greater than 300 pixels by 300 pixels. Thumbs are greater than 100 by 100 pixels. See? And then this is a default URL. If it can't find the picture, it'll display something called missing.png, which isn't in existence yet.
It did this automatically?
Yeah. Well, we're kind of just setting up the model to accept this new kind of data.
Okay.
And then it's also saying validates attachment content type. So you're protecting your model from having any type of file be uploaded by the user. You're saying in order for this to save the attachment along with the item, it's gonna be, that's the name we're talking about. It's gonna be called avatar, and its content type is limited to, and this is regex here, is limited to any type of image essentially with any type of extension. It's just like a, saying this is a very wild card way of saying it. I want to make sure that it's an image file. Okay, so far so good.
Does it matter where it is in your model?
No.
Okay, so if it's after devise or before devise or association. Right?
Well, you're going to want to you're going to see all of your methods go after this type of stuff.
Okay.
If you have any, so all this stuff, your has many, throughs, all that should all go on the top of the model.
Okay, gotcha.
How you want to organize it is up to you. Yeah. Okay, so our database in our application, we've sort of set up some settings for our model of contact, but these files we're going to give it. So we run a command here. Rails generate paperclip user, in this case contact avatar. So we're going to kill our server, and I'm going to change this over to contact. But essentially I'm just saying have paperclip do this magic and define an attachment to contacts called avatar. Oh, one thing, can you guys do this first? Go to a new window, your terminal window, and run brew install. You need to have this image magic installed. Just brew install image magic.
I did the other thing
That's fine. Yeah. Okay, so that'll just take a minute to run. Everybody good there?
It's still done.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. When you're ready, just go back to your terminal and get ready to run this command. It's going to be the name of the attachment comes second, the thing you're attaching it to comes first.
Did you already do the migration for Avatar? We haven't done that yet.
We didn't do anything with Avatar yet. We haven't told it anything about Avatar. So paperclip is creating Avatar, this new item, for the first time right now.
In Postgres? But it's a side note.
Sort of. It's creating 4 new fields in your. Look at our schema right now. Before you run this, did I already run it? Okay, context only has these 3 things that we defined originally, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it created this migration. When we did this paperclip contact avatar, it created this new migration file. What's different about this?
Oh, that's attachment.
Yeah, it normally says column or field or what is it?
String or something?
Yeah, right, exactly. And so when we now run this rake db migrate, and we go back to our schema, we have 4 new things. Avatar file name, the content type, file size, and the updated at. Those 4 things are going to be how the application knows where to grab stuff from here in your. Well, I think it'll create it when we add our first one, but maybe it's in public. No, that's not it. We'll see it in here. We'll see it in the lib file. Okay. So now we need to set up a view or we need to modify the form that we're editing and adding context to allow for this new type of data we're sending over to the application. So I'm going to use this as a guide, but it's going to end up looking different. So go over to your view that has it's our contacts new. Okay, and it's saying render form. Recognize that's a partial. That's a form up here. So here within that partial, we'll just add a new field. And it's going to be a data field, and we want this to say avatar. Okay. We also need to tell it to allow that we need to let the form know that we're going to allow a thing called multi-part, which I don't know how to explain to you, but it's important. So before the do, oops, okay. All right. Yeah. Second here. Okay. So start the app up again. All right, so we're missing an image here, but it's trying. Let's see what it's trying to find. Yeah, so it can't see because we didn't get to add a picture with that first entry, so we're trying to get it to show us that, and there's no file associated with that one. But if we look at our new contact, let's see what's broken now. Yeah, I think we can get rid of.
Attached file. My method has attached file.
Is that form HTML file, is that created when you did the scaffold?
Yeah. Let's see. Well, yeah. Let's try that. Well, this is great.
Totally different area though. That makes me feel any better.
Yeah, I'm trying to make it this fast. Let's just replace our view with this. Okay, so form for at contact, contacts, path, want do. Let's see if that works. Okay, so now we just need to put back in the other stuff that was there. All right. Yeah. I think we just do like this, form.label. This is a different way of writing forms that you've seen before. This is a form for tag because we have to use strong parameters when we pass stuff back. So we're saying form for at contact, which is declared in the controller when you go to the new action. So contact is a thing that's in this form, and so when we pass these values back with it, it'll be linked to that at contact. Sue, first name, form that. Text field. I'm obviously not very used to using this format, but text field, first name. Okay, let's cross our fingers. All right. Yeah.
You can write it differently just because my theme is using my CSS. form.
Yeah, you can write all this different, and you can also just add classes to all these
Oh,
like that.
Yeah.
Okay, next, this is going to obviously trigger an action, and you see the difference when we look at this. We actually have the ability to, like, actually go upload a photo, right? Upload that blue dress.
It's white.
Yep.
I'm kidding. Actually, I see as the.
Okay, so I'm going to clear out my server just to see if this is working yet. So I want to see what the message is. Okay. All right, so here's our request that happened. I've got all this stuff, and look at all this new stuff here. Content type, headers, original file name, this action dispatch, uploaded file. That's our file, and we need to capture that back in the controller and store it. And it's what paperclip handles all this stuff for you. So if you go to your controllers under contacts, you see this contact params. This is calling another method. This is called strong parameters. It's basically a way to whitelist only the attributes you want the database to be able to get from the user. So you'll see this. It's calling a method that's down here, contact params. See, only allow the whitelist through. That's what it's doing. All we have to do is add avatar to this. And you will need to, if you're not using strong params, you will need to change to that to get this to work. But it's not hard. In fact, it's much easier to only have to type in contact params when you do new and update, right? You just declare what they are down here.
Okay.
So we have params. We require there to be a contact. That's what @contact is in the form. And we'll permit these things to come over with it. First name, last name, email, avatar, right? Easy enough? So, while this didn't save anything because we didn't allow the contact to come back, we didn't allow that param to show up. If we do it again, it should be okay, I hope. Okay, we'll choose that. Okay, let's see.
Now I have a question. The avatar is in the same table.
It's not. The link to the file size is in the table. The file name is in the table. The file type.
Okay.
But the actual file itself is kept, believed in here, I want to say. No, where is it? Ah, there we go.
Okay.
It goes to the public folder. It made this for us. Contacts, avatars, and then here's this like really weird but complicated way of storing them.
But I mean, in the like, if you were to look at a database, it would be like if you looked at your Postgres.
I will show you.
Okay.
Okay. Oh. Oh. Why? Well, does that give you an idea?
Yeah, so how would, it wouldn't be too different or difficult if you, say, wanted to store 3 pictures, but, had to do that in a different table.
Yeah, the way the way it makes sense for me to approach that would be that I would have a separate model called image, and I would bind my paperclip photo to an image, and then build a join table that combines image model objects to whatever it is you're trying to connect them with. Because this can only handle
Right,
one picture per item.
right.
So that's when you need to bring in the join table. And instead of
Just another table, because if like one user has many pictures, but one picture belongs to one user.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Okay, so for a lot of you, we're gonna have to modify your controllers to allow for strong params. I don't know if there's another way to do it. I've tried without strong params. I can never get it to work. This just easier, and you'll see strong params far more often in professional developers because it's safer.
And we can do that anyway, even without paperclip. We can just change it to
Yes. Yep. Yeah, it's definitely the preferred way, for, security speaking, to do it. It's just really difficult to wrap your head around when you're learning. Yeah.
Pardon me. Excuse me.
Can I see your new HTML that you're doing?
Yeah. It's this form,
Right.
the partial. So a lot of setup, but all that's really different is you have to give yourself a file field and link it to, the thing you're trying to get it to be named. Image, picture, avatar. This could be for other file types too. You can add audio files, video files, whatever you want. PDFs. And then in your controller, you have to change all of you've probably got contact new with a bunch of like 3 or 4 10 lines of whatever of all the attributes in the model. You change it to contact params, and you go down and you modify this. And you can actually even, if you want to keep your form as a form tag, you can just get rid of your require that, and just if you do params permit, this works too. The other way is if you have form 4 tags, form 4, yeah, like what I just said. Form 4s are different. Do you understand how a form 4 is different from a form tag form? Form. Okay, so if I do form tag, I don't need this right here because I'm not saying what it's for. When I maybe this is a more clear way of demonstrating it. My new method, see this, has contacts.new. At contact equals contact.new. If I cancel that out and try to load a new contact, I'll get an error because it's trying to find what at contact is. See that? So a form 4, when it renders, it gives you like, it kind of automatically associates the fields to the object that you made the form for, and it's not really preferred one way or another. You'll see more form 4s when you search for stuff. But form tags can actually be a little bit more ideal, but I forget why, but it was a thing that Peter and Jay were pretty...
Does that have to do like drop-down menus and options as well? Or is that different?
No, I think you
Like drop-downs for options for another database, like I was trying to research that earlier today. I was like Form 4.
I think you still need to just declare what those options are, or, I mean, the Form 4 is giving you this.
Yeah.
And then when you submit the form, whatever at contact was, it wraps them up. Like, so let's like look at this inspect this and see what it looks like. Okay. Here's our form. Class, new contact, ID, new contact. And I think, see this? Contact, like this is the field that's being passed back. See how it's wrapping these fields inside of the contact word? We would normally see that if it was a form tag form. It would just say avatar. So the value that's being sent back when we hit submit in your params, it's params contact avatar.
But it doesn't affect like how you call it, right? If you're calling it on the view page, it's the same thing. It's just avatar, right?
Right. But because of this,
Right.
it wraps all these up in a contact first name. Right? Just it's a different way. Just it's a different style of form. Cool. So
At the bottom of the permit, if you don't necessarily require your last name or first name, then you don't necessarily need one.
Well,
Is that
we're saying when we messed with this before, it was saying require contact. So it's saying when I try to run this new or this create method, I'm going to call contact params, okay? And if I don't, within my params, if I don't see a thing called contact, I'm not trusting it. And then that has to be there. And then these are the allowable things I'll accept with it.
okay?
That's because of the Form 4.
Right.
Gave us the at contact, which comes back when we submit as contact params avatar, or contact square brackets avatar. So I need you to have a contact, and I will only accept these things. If that's the case, go ahead and continue.
Your method from a long time ago. I'm gonna find method for the has attached file, which is in our.
Okay, I'm gonna stop the video and then we'll
Okay, yeah.
go. Okay,
Yeah, I'll get some up too.
Thanks, Jamie.
Yeah, that's
Sir.
no problem.